Please welcome here in our New York studios, Tori Amos. Hi, Tori.
Hi, Tom.
Hi, welcome.
Thank you.
Boy, this has got to be an exciting time for you. Finally, the record is out, and you're ready to start performing and meeting your fans again.
Well, we're ready to go on tour for February 23rd. We start in the UK.
Let's go through this songwriting process that you go through, because it's such an intense process how an album gets put together by you. Mm-hmm. Where does it start? Where do the ideas begin? And what's the philosophy behind any record that comes out by you?
Well, I'm usually trying to translate what I'm seeing. And I'm usually meeting a being. A song is alive to me. You know, she has a birth certificate and she comes from some star system. I'm not sure which one. They all change. But they start to change. Bridges become different ones. You change a chorus, you throw it out. It's really about not being precious about it. There are times when I'll force something on a song. I'll force a certain thing because I'm really interested. And then months later, I regret it because I know that I wasn't listening.
Do most of these come through a dream, or you're just walking down the street, or is it just alone time? I mean, where do most of these senses come from?
Well, I'm usually eating.
Oh, so it comes from food. Okay.
No, it's about when my brain is not trying to, you know that term? I know I'm going to get bleeped if I use this.
You're listening to Modern Rock Live on the Global Satellite Network. It's a tough one, but sure.
Okay, so you're so microscopic that you never let the song breathe. You never let a thought breathe. You're sitting there with your microscope on everything, and you tweak it to death. Mm-hmm. And so that's what really happens sometimes when I don't let a song kind of just goes somewhere else. I'm doing a remix right now on one of the tunes. It's called Tallulah, and I'm doing the Tornado mix. As we speak, they're remixing it in London. So
wow.
While we're playing other things, I'm rushing to the telephone to listen. And I'm going, no, blow that section. I want to add this other section that I just recorded in Holland on a DAT and flew to them. Get rid of the bridge that's on the record. She's fine for that, but now let's do a new bridge. Why not?
Wow. It's an intense process, and it's also international, it seems, as well.
Well, it's about letting things continually develop.
Right.
As a writer, not having to keep something that when it's ready to shift and be something else.
Now, as an extra bonus, we've wheeled in this beautiful, beautiful piano for her to play live. So if you guys ask some really good questions, we'll entice Tori to play live for us. And remember, everyone who gets on the air with Tori tonight will receive an autographed copy of Boys for Pele, courtesy of Atlantic Records and Modern Rock Live. So if you have a question, here's the number. Write it down, 1-800-223-ROCK. Our first phone call, Tori, is from St. Louis, Missouri, and we're going to talk to Kendall on 105.7 The Point. Hi, Kendall.
Hi, Tori. I have to tell you how amazing Boys for Pele is. I love it. I wanted to ask you if you consider yourself a feminist, and if so, how, besides through your music, are you active in the movement?
I think the feminist movement is dead. I think it's about now claiming the feminine. The feminist movement did some amazing things, and it infiltrated the patriarchy, which it needed to do. But once we've done that, and we learned how the domination scene works, now it's time to become completely disassociated with hierarchical behavior. So to me, it's really about pulling forth the feminine part of God, the female part of God that's been ignored in all the religions and everywhere else. It's one thing to to me, the feminist movement was about pulling forth the masculine within the female being. Now it's time to bring the feminine in men as well as women, and that's about the heart. That's about the compassionate heart.
Good question, Kendall. Thanks for your phone call. Bill is now calling us from Buffalo, New York on 103.3 The Edge. Hi, Bill.
Hi.
Hi, Bill.
I was wondering if you could tell me what Caught Like a Sneeze is about.
Well, he was actually malaria. So that whole idea of, you know, when you're crawling to a telephone that isn't ringing, you know that one? Well, I was at a state after my separation from a soulmate when I started to try and pull in energies to fill this empty space. And I was chasing after all sorts of energies to the point where I was crawling after boy blood, shall we say. And my girlfriends will tell you I was trying to match the lipstick, Shiseido, with the blood stains in the corner of my lips, right? And at a certain point, I knew that this wasn't good for me, and it wasn't good for them, but I didn't know how to stop because I didn't know how to find my own fire at this point in time. And Caught a Light Sneeze is just letting you know that I got it bad.
Thanks, Bill, for your phone call. Felicia in Boca Raton, Florida. She listens to Modern Rock Live on 103.1 The Buzz in West Palm Beach. Felicia, on with Tori Amos.
I wanted to know, for your songs, did you derive the lyrics from your inner self, especially for the Little Earthquakes album?
Well, all the songs I see as alive. They live somewhere. Silent all these years is a living being. So is Cornflake Girl. So is Blood Roses. They're alive. And I just go through an experience to translate them. I've been told that Keith Richards has said that there's like this one huge, big song out there. She's had a lot of butter over the last 5 billion years, and she's really, really big. And writers just tap into another piece or fragment of this song through our experience. And that doesn't mean that we created them on our own. They already exist. We're just able to see them and hear them because of something we've been through. And I believe that.
Good question. Thanks, Felicia. We appreciate it. Rory's calling us from West Palm Beach, Florida. There you go, another exclusive from Tori that you're not going to hear anywhere else. On 103.1 The Buzz. Hi, Rory.
Yeah, I was wondering what your musical influences were.
Musical influences.
So many. It's constantly changing because I'm always having my ear to the ground.
What do you like now that's out? Is anything out?
Well, a lot. I think somebody that really influenced me recently was Manu Katché, the drummer. Maybe you're familiar with him. He's known as one of the great drummers alive now. He's played with Peter Gabriel, and he's played with Sting, he's played with loads of people. Mm-hmm. And the way that he listens to rhythm, I watched him. He played on Pele, and he was I would just watch him. And as I watched him play, and I would have to sneak outside, right, because he wouldn't let anybody be in there, and he wears these blue sunglasses when he plays. And, you know, he's Parisian. He's Northern African Parisian. And so he just looks down at you. And you feel totally inferior when he's around. But I went outside, and I snuck. One of the sound guys said, Dora, check it out. You've got to watch the way he plays. Look, he wears his shades on when he's playing, and they don't fall off his face. I said, okay, let's go check it out. So we race outside, and I'm on top of their shoulders because I can't see through the window. I'm too little. So they lift me up, and I frantically fall in, and he looks up, and it's like, get out of my space, Dora.
Get out of here.
And yet he smiled this smile, and he's like, if I knew you were going to go to all this trouble, I would have just like let you in. But what he showed me was how it's so effortless. Rhythm is just the breath. I've always thought about it as a piano player, but to see when a drummer feels the breath, and the air is so much a part of the sound, how they bring that arm back, and it's within, milliseconds when they hit that snare, and it's like, oh. I mean, when they get it right, there's nothing more delicious, the way that they just lay it in there. You feel like you're getting driven by this 18-wheel truck, and it's fantastic.
It also reminds me of the same guy that toured with Sting and Peter Gabriel Vinks as well. I don't know if you're familiar with him or not. Same thing, same vibe and everything. It's really cool. Rachel in Salem, Pennsylvania, Y100 in Philadelphia. Rachel.
Hi, I was wondering if it's true that you do sketches while you write your songs, and what kind of drawings did you do while writing Voice for Pele?
Doodling, I think, would be a better word for this. I mean, I don't have any delusions here. The art world doesn't need to wait for my sketches. A lot of times I'm just trying to free my brain so that I stop thinking about where the next phrase is going to go. A lot of times I find that I lead a witness, no different than a lawyer. I'm leading the next line, and I almost have to take it to the point where I'm going to make a mistake. And when I just freeform write, like the song I just sang for you, it's just freeform because I couldn't think of anything else to play and none of the other songs were coming. So sometimes, in truth, some of the lines didn't work. But you got to take that chance sometimes. You have to take it up to the next line, not even knowing where you're going, saying, well, let's just hope we go somewhere. And you know what? Sometimes you don't go anywhere. And that's when you go, okay, so maybe it's time to have a coffee. But that's what happens with doodling. I'm trying to free the brain so that it can go somewhere that maybe I'd never go because it doesn't make logical sense.
Tori Amos is with us exclusively on Modern Rock Live, and we go back to our busy phones and talk to Max in New Providence, New Jersey, and he listens to Modern Rock Live on Z100 in New York. Hi, Max.
Hi. I heard that your rape hotline is going out of business, and I was wondering if there's anything that we can do to help it out.
Well, thank you for asking. We're trying to do a special benefit concert in accordance with HBO, and some of the bands are really coming forward that want to try and help out. There's going to be information in Spin, and I'd say a couple issues. That's really, I'm thrilled that you've called and asked. We're just trying to figure out ways to keep the hotline going. So we'll keep you posted, and thank you so much for asking.
Could you also do us a favor, Tori? Keep in touch with us, too, because we'd like to get that information out as the weeks go on. Even though you won't be here, we'd still like to let the listeners know about it. So also tune into Modern Rock Live for more details on that. Len in Glendora, New Jersey, who listens to Y100 in Philadelphia. Hi, Len.
Hi. I know that you co-produced the previous two albums, but I just want to know what made you decide to produce this one on your own?
I was kind of claiming my womanhood on this. So I felt like I kind of couldn't look over my shoulder and say, what do you think? I really enjoyed collaborating with some of the producers I've worked with, namely Eric Ross, who I worked with exclusively on Under the Pink. And I missed that in some ways. And then in other ways, it was kind of like I did things that I have never done before just because I had a bunch of live guys, sound guys there. And sound guys kind of look at you. I would suggest something. I mean, I could have suggested, I want to mic up 15 Sherpas. And they would have sat there and just said, well, how many Neumanns do we have? How many? They would just sit there and find a way to do it. And that's the thing about techs, that the engineers just, when I came up with an idea, said, let's find a way to do it. Instead of, does this make musical sense? Is this what you really want to do? No, they wouldn't ask me that. And I really needed, at this time in my life, to not have any logical comments. Sometimes it's like, no, I want a Leslie. Where are we going to put it? The texts go, we're going to put it in the graveyard because there's no place else. Does it matter that it's raining and the wind is blowing 50 miles an hour? No, we get blankets. We put the Neumanns under the blankets. They put the Leslie out in the graveyard, and we roll tape. and that's what's on horses. So it just became about, let's try it, let's do it. No kind of, well, what do you think? No, we would just try things and do it.
From the city of brotherly love to the city of the home of Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, we're in Ohio on 107.9, The Ed in Cleveland. We talked to Amy. Hi, Amy.
Hello. I was wondering, what do you like to do in your spare time?
Sleep. No, usually we're in a different city all the time because I'm rarely in one place. And I like to go and just explore a place. I usually go off with a buddy, whoever's hanging out at the time, and we slope off, as we say. We just kind of slope. And we find places to go. I like to go see visual art a lot. It's one of my favorite things to do. I don't get a lot of time to do it, but I try and see visual art. It always just kind of opens up a new perspective for me.
Trey is calling us from Chesterfield, Missouri. He's listening to us on 105.7, The Point in St. Louis. Hey, Trey.
Hey, how's it going, Tori? I was just wondering how you got the name Boys for Pele.
Well, Pele is the volcano goddess in Hawaii, goddess of fire. And I was really going to the men in my life to find my fire. For whatever reason, I'd steal it, I'd negotiate, whatever I could do. Even when they'd look at me like I was nuts, not knowing what I wanted. And the title really came from what the intimate relationships with men forced me to do. Really, it's, in some cases, it's what they didn't give me that forced me to have to find it myself. And they couldn't have given it to me, just like I couldn't give it to them. I think I've been in lots of relationships where you try and be something for the other person, and they be something for you, and it just didn't work anymore.
Can you give me examples of things they didn't give, or is it just it's in different people at different times, or?
Well, for example, I cannot, if you can't feel this flame inside your being, I can't give it to you. And it was no different for me. When I wasn't behind the piano, I could not feel this. Yeah, I could be wired, I could have will, I could have drive, but just a sense of being enough, just a sense of accepting, hey, not everything I do is going to be like totally groovy, and but not everything I'm going to do is worthless either, and I've got to give myself the chance to light that spark, and sometimes things will take shape and take kinetic energy, and sometimes they'll just spittle out.
Right.
But I couldn't find that freedom.
Okay.
And that's a big thing, because I think we look to a lot of people. I mean, does fame give it to you? Does success? What gives it to you? Does this rush, this being in love, meeting somebody that hasn't, and you want to be close to them, you want to be near them? It's like, no. You can feed off of them for a while, but in the end, you're just a vampire, and that's what I became.
Vanessa in Minneapolis, Minnesota, 93.7, The Edge. Hi, Vanessa.
Hey, Tori. I have to tell you, I've totally loved all of your covers of Joni Mitchell and Nirvana, and Rolling Stones and Leonard Cohen and R.E.M. Wow, that was amazing. And so my question for you is, if you could pick an artist or group to cover one of your songs, what artist, which song would you choose, and why?
Oh, good question.
Metallica, Silent All These Years.
There you go. Paul in Dayton, Ohio on 103.9 The Edge. Paul.
Hi. I was wondering, what was the inspiration to use the Baroque instruments on Boys for Pele, and if the harpsichord, clavichord, and harmonium are the traditional instruments, or if you adapted them for the album?
Okay, Paul. Since I was going after bloodlines, because I felt like there was, as you could see, I was after blood. But what I really started to do once I stopped feeding off these men is I went back to the bloodline of womanhood. So I went back to the Mary Magdalene in the Christian mythology, figuring that that bloodline hadn't got passed down. They passed down the concept of the virgin and the mother, but they didn't pass down the concept of woman. Woman, compassion, passion on her own, in her own right and equal to Jesus. And it was very much about, if I'm going to go back to the bloodline of woman, so did the piano had to do it too, because where I go, she goes, and vice versa. So we went to the bloodline, the harpsichord, the clavichord, and the organ has always kind of been lurking. So, we were going back to the root.
Okay. Thanks, Paul, for your phone call. We talk now to Jenny in Fort Wayne, Indiana on 96.3 The Edge. Jenny.
What advice do you have for young female musicians, and do you think it's harder for women to make a name for themselves in music?
I think it's never been better for female musicians as far as people being open. As you can see, you hear female artists much more on the radio than you have ever before. I just think it's important to not see yourself as a female musician, or a male musician. I do think, you're a woman, a young woman, and a guy is a guy. And some guys are women, which is fantastic. I know a few. And the truth is, it's about not limiting yourself, not thinking of yourself as, being a female, I kind of write this way. No, just get to know your instrument, whether it's your voice or whether it's, your voice and another instrument or just an instrument. And you let yourself have no censorship. Approach it from rhythm. Approach it from tone. And that doesn't have a sex. That doesn't have a race. That doesn't have anything. We can all have access to absolutely anything that's out there musically. Mm-hmm. Just because you're not from a certain culture doesn't mean you shouldn't have access to something that gets you off. You don't, just because you grew up in Fort Wayne, Indiana or whatever, doesn't mean that you can't have Caribbean music in your blood. Doesn't mean that you don't have that primitive rhythm. It doesn't mean anything. Mm. You just have to allow yourself that freedom to explore and let yourself do it.
Good answer. Thanks. Jamie in New Jersey on Y100 in Philadelphia. Hi, Jamie.
Hi. I was wondering if you could tell me what the song Father Lucifer is about and if you're very religious.
Okay, well, Father Lucifer is really about going to have a cup of tea with Lucifer, which I had to do. Now, when I say Lucifer, I'm talking about the guy that holds the space for shadow, the guy that holds the space for the things that we hide. That's not Satanism. To me, that's the perversion and the distortion of Lucifer. That becomes something twisted and evil. No different than the Inquisitions when they're talking about using Christianity to torture people. That's Satanism. I'm talking about the feelings that we hide from ourselves. So I had to go in this record when I was trying to find parts of myself that I had not let scream and dance and have a tear. I went to go visit Lucifer to get my talisman, which means my little, shall we say, magic key that took me to the places that I hadn't let myself go. So that's really just about having a little tango, a little dance with Lucifer, the idea that dark is not a scary thing. If you go in there understanding there is a purity in darkness, there's also a lot of distortion in darkness. It's a choice where you want to go. And I wanted to get to the truth, not to the drama and to keeping me from the truth.